Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Great to have you. Branon Dempsey of worshipteamtraining.com. How are you today? Today is our morning show, and you made it to Monday. What is up? Welcome. Glad you're here. How is your Monday going? Or as some others refer to it as mundane, right? Because it was after your worship service yesterday. And how'd that go? You guys good? Feeling good? Rainy? I know. Bradley, you're in Texas also. Kelly, what's up? Kelly, our content media manager. Awesome. Sibby, what's up? Good to see you this morning. Facebook Live. Also, of course, Periscope. Hope you guys are doing well. We're dual broadcasting as always. Kelly, what's up? How are you? We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of stuff to do. And man, how was your Sunday yesterday? How was worship? How'd it go? How'd worship go yesterday? Just asking you guys. It's great to have you. As you guys are coming in. Great. On Facebook Live, also Periscope. Seen a lot of great people come in. Awesome. All right, good. Yeah, it's cold in here too. And we got some broadcasters here from Brazil on Periscope. And Kelly, awesome. Bradley, great. Good. Rick, what's going on? Just fantastic people coming in. Facebook Live, glad that you guys are here as well. Again, welcome to our morning show. Great to have you. I'm Branon Dempsey of worshipteamtraining.com. Who am I? Who is Branon Dempsey? I'm the CEO. Well, you know what? I'm a worshiper of Christ. That's it. Yeah. So, and follower. So, this is what God has called us to do today. And He's called us to step into that relationship with Him. I just so happen to lead a ministry called Worship Team Training that you can find us at worshipteamtraining.com. And what do? We provide workshops, 1 day, 2 day events just for your worship team. Awesome. Bradley, thank you for that, Periscope. They're shouting out to us about Snapchat. We're going to talk about that. So thank you very much for that, Bradley, one of our awesome followers there. And we provide mentoring as well on worshipteamtraining.com that you can find all of our mentoring and our workshops there when you go to the website. And when do we air? Well, just like right now, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's great to see you. So glad that you're here. Thanks for coming in. And also, who are these broadcasts for? Well, they're for you. If you are a worship team member, pastor, worship leader, musician, singer, audio tech, and these are the things that we talk about. We talk about events that happen within your worship ministry, what they mean to you, most importantly, what they mean to your church. So it's great to know always who we're broadcasting with. If this is the first time that you're joining us on the broadcast on the morning show today, we say welcome. And if you would, please type in all caps, new, and the city or country of where you're from. Thanks, Kelly, for sharing us on Periscope as always. Pamela, how are you today? Good morning. Glad that you're here. Sorry about that, getting in the way of the camera. And go ahead and please type in the all caps new and the city or country of where you're from. What? You see my coffee? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's even better when I taste it because nobody can drink coffee the way I can. Glad you guys are here. Let's do this too. If you are family, even if you just watch one replay, then just type in FAM as in family so we always know who we're conversing with and who's hanging out with us today. So thanks so much for that. We got a lot of great things coming at you, and today's show is one of them. So glad that you're here. So if you're right now, it's a perfect time. If you would, please, if you're watching Facebook Live, hit the like button and share this out with your friends. Please do that. Pamela, great to see you. New from Merida, right? Awesome. California, great to have you today. And those of you joining us on Periscope right now, part of the fam, Kelly, of course, and Armin on Periscope. I'm sorry I couldn't read the full name. Mellow Love from Connecticut. So glad that you're here with us today. And Clarence, our broadcast assistant. Everybody say hello to Clarence, who does all the great work and help. It's been a long time, Clarence. Clarence has been doing a lot of things on the side with his schooling and stuff, and so we're grateful to have Clarence with us. He makes all the broadcasts that we do popping and happening, so thanks for that, Clarence. You're awesome. And if you are also, again, on Periscope, go ahead and slide over on Apple, swipe up and down Android. let us know what's going on. So, hey, it is cold today in Texas. I don't know about you, but we're having this really weird cold front. We had a good friend of ours just now, cold already in Texas. And even in Brazil, we had some watchers right now, friends of ours joining us on Periscope, saying that it's cold in Brazil right now. So I have no idea, because I would think that if I was at Brazil, I would be somewhere next to the water and the sun. But I hope that you're able to do that. Lord, what's going on? Lord Marriott, one of our fantastic mentors here at worshipteentraining.com. She's awesome. Pamela, thanks for the shout out. Pamela on Facebook is shouting out to you, Clarence, on Periscope. So that's always fantastic to see. Glad. Hey, Laura, what's up? So we're here to talk today about I will praise you with an upright heart. We're going to be talking today about kingdom. Not your kingdom, not our kingdom, but thy kingdom come. And as this hit me this morning, Kelly, I'm sorry. We had to change some directions. We had some things, more things lined up this week. But today, I really just felt pressed to speak about this, because it seems so often that we see many things within our own churches, our ministries, and yes, and oh, that's great. Yes, we see all these. I'm responding. I'm looking at Periscope because Laura is saying hello to Kelly. If you didn't watch last Friday's broadcast, we had a special treat for you. We had Kelly on to give her side of the story about kingdom work, but more importantly, what does it mean to lead a ministry, lead worship, not just by being female, but what does it mean to support our women in the church, and more importantly, what are some things that we can do as leaders to make it more about our team and less about ourselves? And that kind of, you're welcome, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have Kelly back, and we're also going to fix the time delays that you guys probably had seen. So it was like we were talking back from the Gulf War. You wait like 6 minutes for the other person to respond. That's kind of what happened on Friday. So anyway, fixed it, all good. Today, we're flowing into a similar topic, because as last Friday, we dealt about not making it about you. Well, that's the same thing about kingdom work. And that really hit me this morning, because, over the weekend, I'm tossing around some ideas and things, and maybe you too, and it just became a little bit of an idea, like, we do such a great job in serving our own ministries. And by the way, I just hats off to the brand new worship team, Family of Faith. On Snapchat, if you're following us, I showed you a little bit of clips just to introduce some of the team. I didn't get a chance to do all of the team. We had a lot of younger members that were there as well. Sophia, I showed you Nathan, Elaine. There's a lot of other great people on the team. I'll do some more snaps later on another Sunday. But I just kind of gave you a little picture of, what it's like in our new local church, and just having so much fun there. And as I thought about ministry, I thought about what does it mean to either A, begin a ministry, or B, to keep one thriving. There's so much that we do every day, and there's so much energy. It's like one of our board members and I were just talking about this. We have to, in some way, we depend on the Lord, but God also desires for us to use our own brain and muscle. And so, in some ways, God depends on us to follow out what we do for Him, and Him doing it through us. And so, how do we do that? How do we have the right perspective of ministry growth, of ministry leading? If it's leading worship, if it's engaging people in video, if it's an art, if it's songwriting, whatever it may be, how do we make it less about ourselves and more about God? And how does that all work within the kingdom? And what does God expect from us about the kingdom? Because I'm going to get to that in a second, but it just got me thinking. So as we jump into today's show, if you would be so kind to type in your comments, ideas, questions, anything that comes to mind that you feel, hey, this is what's been going on in our church, or I got a question, and maybe this has been bugging me. If you would, just please use the comment window down at the bottom of your screen if you're watching us from Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, or even on the worshipteamtraining.com site. And thank you again, by the way, all the replay viewers that come in, because we know that your work is hard. You're at maybe an office or somewhere else during the week that's taking up a lot of your hours. Thank you for being so faithful and come back in and watching these broadcasts when you have some free time. So thank you for that, because that means the world to us. So let's get into it. If you want to find all the links and everything that we do throughout daily. All right, Kelly's got a question already. How do you transform vision to reality? Man, she's got to hit me with such a deep thought this early in the stage of the game. All right, how do we translate to reality? All right, let me get to that, Kelly. It's a good question. Good. It's a great question. Good. Thank you, Laura. We're going to get that in a second. Bam. I know I got my coffee, and so that's what I do every morning. It's a labor of love that somebody has to do. Anyway, if you want to find all the links that we have to offer on our workshops, mentoring, articles, posts, daily encouragement, Instagram, Pinterest, YouVersion with our Bible studies, our Bible daily devotionals, over 25,000 of you have completed the 3-day plan. So thank you so much for that. We have more coming. Michael, big shout out, doing the hard work and introducing our 14-day plan and 30-day plan. That's coming. I'm already scared. I don't have any more words. But I just said some words, so that doesn't count. So anyway, more news about that later on. In this month of May, we're going to be releasing those 2 more plans. Woohoo, Michael, that's right. 2 more plans on YouVersion, that's Bible.com. And we have a new season that we're starting as well. So good stuff to come. All right, anyway, I did enough of that. At WorshipTT is where you can find us on Twitter, so go there, please. Also, on Snapchat, I talked about that. Look, we create these daily running stories. It's called a Snapchat story, and all we do is just connect what we write about in the morning, what we broadcast later, like right now, because we broadcast to you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central, and then throughout the day, comments of Twitter, whatever encouragement that we put out, we all feed this stuff throughout the morning all the way to the evening, well, late afternoon on Snapchat. But it's a lot of fun because you guys also send us a lot of messages. I mean, like over the weekend, I was getting hammered just left and right. Hey, can you do this article? Hey, this is what's going on in our church. Hey, it's a blessing to see what you guys do and your thoughts and ideas. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for following us. All you need to do is go to your app store. That's right, I'm just telling you where you can find it. Snapchat. You probably heard about it, and it's probably scared you because you may think, I don't know how to operate this program. It's easy. Once you just spend a little time with it, it's fun. If anything, all you got to do is just click on people's stories, and you can just read and watch what they go through, and then you can snap your own stuff later on. It's no brainer. But just go to your app store on Apple or Google Play, Droid, and you can just search out Snapchat, download it, and then add us, Worship TT. So be sure to do that, and we'll add you back. So not a bad deal. And if you want to find all of our upcoming webinars that Kelly will be posting soon, you can find that at the worshipteamtraining.com/events page, which we will be having. Tony Guerrero is our next webinar. This dude is one of our co-hosts on the Worship Team Training show, Worship Team Training Hangout, rather, on our YouTube page. Tony's got much to say, much to offer about bringing up the quality, raising the standard of the worship ministry. So he's going to be there to talk about that, as well as our upcoming Hangouts that we have coming up. Alva Copeland, who's a worship leader from Saddleback, is going to join us. This is going to be on our Hangout show. And then also coming up is our season finale with none other than Tommy Walker. That's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. So be sure to hit us back, worshipteamtraining.com. Go to the events page as well. We will be posting up the webinar soon with Tony Guerrero. So be sure that you're ready for that. And our mentoring page. This is what we do. We're going to be creating something new as well, because we know a lot of you guys are limited on time, so we want to make some things easy for you. But for the meantime, I'm going to talk more about that later as the new stuff comes out. But for right now, just go to our mentoring page at worshipteentraining.com/mentoring to find out more of how you can invite us along to your journey, and that we can be here as a support for you in what you go through. Worship leader, pastor, musician, singers, audio tech. That's who it's for. And it's a program that works with you that looks just like you in your ministry. We'll talk more about that later on at the top of the broadcast, at the very end. So today, Thy Kingdom Come. What does that mean? I kind of gave you the intro about how it's so easy building our own kingdoms, right? And then, maybe getting frustrated because things don't work out the way that you like. Kelly opened up with a great question already about how do you translate vision into reality. Okay, so let me just hit that question right now, because that's a very deep, bold one that I think deserves a lot of attention. So Kelly, thanks for that question. How do you translate vision to reality? Number one, it starts with you. It starts with you and me. This is the same discussion that I had with our own worship team back Thursday at rehearsal. They had asked me that question, Branon, how are we? What are some things that we can do to change? What are some things that can increase the participation of worship? What can we do to upscale the ministry? And that was the one answer I just kept coming back to, is it starts with you and me. It's not a magic bullet. There's not a magic formula. There's nothing that we can say, do, eat, think, or sleep on a topic or idea that will just make us do it, except for you and I coming before God and just saying, Lord, I need you to straighten me out. I need you to do this through me. I need you to help me learn and teach me your ways and words, is what Psalms declares all the time. And I love that when you read the book of Psalms and Proverbs, just a lot of great wisdom. But we take that wisdom as it starts with you and I, and we act upon it. We don't get reactive. We don't get slouched, but we look at what God is doing. God gave you that vision for a reason. How do you translate it into reality? Number one is it starts with you and I. It begins by living it out. Because if I'm living one way but talking in another, then my walk is not as true as my words. And as you know, people are watching your actions and how you conduct yourself on stage or off stage, how you live your life. I mean, even this morning, I'm calling my guys, my mentors, the one that hold me accountable. I did over the weekend, and I just said, hey, am I seeing this right? Because this is what I see going on over here, and in my heart, I got all this happening, and I know it's not like, I feel like the little bricks of my own kingdom are starting to be built, and I need God to crush it down. And so can I just bounce this off of you? Because if I'm not really walking it out that way, then it's just words. What does it mean anyway? So there I am, just asking those questions, because I'm just a firm believer, without a doubt, it has to start with you and I. It doesn't start with somebody else. It doesn't start with the, well, let somebody else do it factor. I had a pastor that told me once, I don't see anybody whose name in the phone book that says their first name begins with somebody or else as the last name. And I think that's great. And that's the hard work that we don't want to do, but it's like, that's the hard work that Jesus calls us to do. This is why I phoned up my mentors over the weekend, just said, yeah, with both phones. And I was like, hey, I need your help. God's timing plays a part in it too. Absolutely. I'll tell you why. Because much of the time we can get so excited about what we want to do in the church, what we want to do in the call that God's given us. And sometimes, like Proverbs, I remember, says, it's not good to be hasty and miss the way. It's not good to be hasty and miss the way. Also, there's other parts that say that we are to seek and rely upon God's wisdom. If you, like even today, today's the second, Proverbs the second, read chapter 2 of Proverbs. It's all right there. I mean, it talks all about seeking God's wisdom, finer than silver. And when we treasure the wisdom of God, what happens is then the translation to our minds and hearts would be, for me at least, is patience. So God's timing is really about being patient. And I just implore you of that, because that's something that I pray for. Even like I said this morning, I mean, I'm praying like, God, give me patience for the things that maybe I don't want to do. Give me patience for the things that I know I need to do, that I want to do right now, but maybe, just maybe you're saying, wait. Help me be okay with that answer. You know, I mean, this is about the kingdom stuff. And it's like, we ask God, would you make this happen? But then it's like the second question is, well, but if I pray, Lord, would you make this happen? Whose kingdom is it for anyway? Is it for mine? Is it for my own personal kingdom? Or is it for God's? I mean, when you read, and by the way, if you want to look at the article that I'm speaking about right now, because I want to get more into this, you can find this article now on worshipteamtraining.com/ThyKingdomCome. So there you have it. You can read the article there and follow along. I'm not reading everything verbatim. What I'm giving you is just my experience right now, and also answering questions from the good girls, Kelly and Laura. So thank you for that again, ladies. If you have questions, please type them in, because you never know, as I said before, you never know who you may be ministering to, and somebody out there may say to themselves, you know what, I'm not alone, because thank God for Kelly asking that one question, because that's how I feel too. Okay? So, how does division translate? How does division translate into, yes, how does division translate into reality? Laura says perseverance leads to character. Absolutely. Character shaping. So when we live it, we model it. If I'm going to pursue what God's called me to do and do it by the heart, I have to be living that out before other people, even when I don't feel like it at times. I find those are like the critical, even quiet moments when you feel like things are still, and maybe you wonder, is God really listening? I really believe that's the time when God is working the most, because we're quiet ourselves. Maybe let's say other things can be loud. What? Laura says more white hair. I have no idea what that means. This is white shirt. Just saying? You're just saying what? Saying what, Laura? Laura, Marriott, jokester. So, getting back to Laura about timing. I really believe that as we talk about modeling real quick. Oh, character and white hair, she says. Yeah, well, I don't have any white hair, so I have a lot of wisdom that I need to learn first and grow. And then when everything becomes white up there, like my shirt, then, well, I'm getting way off track. But anyway. Formula for making your vision translate into reality is James 2:26. Leon is on it on Periscope. Leon, will you please, somebody look up James 2:26 and tell us what that says? Great, Leon. Thank you for that. I'm kidding. Laura, come on. We're all friends here. We laugh. We have a good time. So, trust, faith. I know James talks about that. Not being a hearer, but a doer of the word. Is that where you're speaking from, Leon? Because that's what I know James says. How do we translate that to reality? Great question. And then the timing part that Laura brought up. Like I said, when things get quiet, it's faith without works is dead. Yes, Leon says this from Periscope. Thank you, Leon. That is the formula to translating vision into reality, is working with our faith. It's not just going to get up and do it for us. I love that. Clarence, thank you so much. Leon, wow, what a great word. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can just sit there, you can stew, you can frustrate yourself, but none of that is going to get up and walk out on its way for you. It's not going to do the job for you. You have to get up. You have to do the hard work. And I know that's the thing that we don't like to do. It's like, right, we're called to do things for ourselves and be responsible. And they may be easy things that people ask you to do, like, hey, can you send this email? Hey, can you do this or that? And you're kind of like thinking, oh man, I really don't want to do that. And these are like just simple things. Or it could be something, a big task, like, hey, I'd like for you to lead out on this one ministry. Hey, I'd like for you to maybe come up with a devotional, or read this part of your story that you wrote out to people who need to hear it. All these things at first were kind of like, oh man, I don't want to do it. But it's like, that's when God wants to use you the most. Don't you see that? And it's ownership. Like, for instance, you give your worship team a task to do. It's not about you making a task for them as an objective of like just being just to delegate. It's more of a ownership kind of deal. I mean, if it is like, helping the team organize music, if it is working with the team member after rehearsal or before rehearsal, if it is sending out email notices, or if it is preparing for your rehearsal, whatever that it is that you need to do, this is ownership. This is about kingdom work. I mean, when we collaborate together, it is about for the work of the kingdom, and it's not the work for ourselves just to check off boxes at the end of the day. God's called you and I to such a greater work than that. So let me just jump into that, if I may, into the story of Samuel at chapter 12, because this is where Samuel too kind of finds this fine line between, vision and reality, in the sake of for the call of Israel receiving a king. Okay, so here's Samuel, right? He's growing tired of listening to Israel moan. I mean, how common is that in the first place, right? They're always talking about Egypt. What's their problem? But here they are in 1 Samuel 12, and they're tired of not having a king. It's like, come on, you remember the story, right? Like, come on, Samuel. Come on, God, get it together. When are you going to give us a king? And they're getting so impatient. We just talked about patience, right? We just talked about vision and timing, right? Well, check this out. They became so wearied and so disgruntled, even to the point of refuting Samuel's leadership. Not cool, right? Because now they're going to start messing with God, all right? Not a good idea. So this man of God, Samuel, was praying for the patience of Israel, but they were unwilling. And no matter how Samuel tried to persuade the people, they just would not listen. Do you feel like that sometimes when you know that God is calling you to listen? And you're like, no, I want this over here and I want to do this. And God's like, okay, figure it out. I mean, it's like God was saying that to me Friday. And it was, okay, Lord, whose way is really better? Again, hard work. We feel it at the moment. We don't always like it, but it really is the best thing for us. It's like telling our 5.5-year-old, you need to eat your vegetables. So, don't get me started with that, because now I'll start going into daddy mode. Not a good thing. Okay, so, going back to our point. Thy kingdom come. Have you ever felt this way, that God is trying to keep you aligned one way, but your eyes are fixed on another? And it happens to us all. The reality is that God, when He gives something to you like a vision or a desire within your heart, what's cool about all that is that it really, the first question is, did it really come from you or did it come from God? Those deep desires that you're really passionate about, that are godly, that are God-led, that are God-breathed, those desires actually are from God putting them into your heart. So if it is God's will, there is a way. And I think part of that way is finding it through Scripture, through prayer, through waiting, through perseverance. Like what Laura said, perseverance is a great word. And so, as I think about the story of Samuel, right? Yeah, clarity, thanks for that. We need to be sure it's always from God, because the New Testament tells us to test the spirits to find out if they are from God or not. And Laura says some of them are God-sized dreams, absolutely. Here's what I say about dreams. Because I get this asked a lot, and this hit me over the head years ago, and I still keep it with me. Here's the thing about dreams. Are you going to get up and live them, or are you going to sleep through them? About your dreams, are you going to get up and live them, or are you going to sleep through them? Because there is a difference between you sitting on the sideline watching everybody else. Are you doing the hard work and getting into the game? Are you ready? That's your Monday morning motivation today. Yeah. I mean, if it is God's will, there is a way. Period. It's all about, I look at it this way. I used to get really stumped when, guys that are older, it's hard with a family. You know what? Then you make it happen. It's hard with a family, absolutely. But God's called you to your family first, right, Laura? And we serve our families first, and then out of that, God still makes that way happen. I mean, we had 2 boys. It ain't easy. You got children? Come on. But God's called you first to your children, right, Laura? He's called us first to that. And then out of that, man, I find that ministry becomes even richer. So getting through this, yeah, life is hard. Having barriers in front of you is hard. But then what are we going to do about it? Just sit there and complain that, well, I can't do this, I can't do that because this is in my way. Is it really in your way? The things that maybe are in your way are probably the greatest thing that God's ever put there. I think that we get so tripped up. Even I think about this as well. We get so tripped up into but I want to be doing that. When really what we need to be doing is what's already right in front of us. And for you guys who know me personally, you know what those things are. And you know that I'm the one down on my knees praying, God, help me then in my unbelief. Help me to believe what you're doing and to listen and then to do it right. Faith without works is dead. So that's a great word, Leon, so thanks for that. So I've said a lot here, and I don't even know how this is bouncing back to you. What are your thoughts so far? Because we've talked quite a bit. If you got something to say, something to ask, a thought, maybe something that God showed you just now or over the weekend, let us know. Type it in, because this is how we all learn together. That's what these broadcasts are about. Laura says, start where you are. I believe God wants to build our character first before fulfilling the dream. Wow, that's good. Thank you, Laura. Very, very good on Periscope. It is about character. It is about God. Before we are to lay the bricks down of kingdom work, God wants to work on the laborer, which would be us, right? Otherwise, we labor in vain. Psalm 122. So here's Samuel, right? Yeah, personal experience is true. Here's Samuel. How long does it take to build the character? As long as what God wants it to take. Are you kidding? Leon. So yeah, it's like, how long does it take to build character? Your whole life. How do you like that? Your whole life. Your whole life is about character building. It's not, well, Lord, just let me get through this Sunday, and then after that character building part, then we can go to something else part. No, that's not the way how God works. If you read your scriptures, it's character all the way through. We're fallible, right? God tells Moses, walk before me and be blameless. You don't think that's character? And how long would Moses have to walk? Think about 40 years in a circle. Come on. Now Leon says, what if the person doesn't ever build their character? Does that put the dream on hold? Is it, when you ask that question, if the person doesn't build character, is that you or is that somebody within your team? When you're talking about character building, are you talking about somebody else or are you talking about you? Because that's important too. I don't think that if God's called you to a certain vision, it doesn't depend on anybody else but you first. It starts with you. It starts with you and me. If people aren't pulling their own weight, there are some things that you can do about that to help encourage, to help massage, help point them in the right direction. But it really is more about you and less about them, because it's about your initiative and what God is doing. Are you allowing God to work through you in such a way that the other people around you, really, they are just as responsible as you are? And this is kind of in the same category as Samuel. Yeah, our number one goal is to be fully devoted to God first. Leon says, are we speaking vision of the team or individual? We're talking about individual. So Leon's asking an important question. Are we talking about the vision of a team or vision of an individual? It's really both, really. Let me go back and counter what I just said. I think it's both. But if God's given you that vision within your team, you have to live it out within your team. This is something that I have to do. I have to live within my teams. And what I'm saying and doing are congruent with what I'm allowing God to do in my life. And Him shaping my character, shaping my patience. All these things work together. So here's Samuel, right? And he's praying this for his own people. And he's encouraging them, saying, look, if you just follow the ways of God, you'll be blessed. But if you don't, you'll be cursed. So it's kind of like, it's a simple question. Do you want to be blessed or cursed? It's up to you. I mean, that's basically what he's telling them. So, it's funny, I mean, rather downright dangerous to perceive that our way is better than God. And this is what Israel was struggling with. Israel's just saying, yeah, but we want a king right now. So, this is what Samuel says, look, if you just get over it, basically, he says this in chapter 12, verse 16. Now then, stand still and see this great thing the Lord is about to do before our eyes. The guy says stand still. I think that's the hardest thing when it comes to patience, isn't it? So you guys, I mean, this is written for you. You guys are already asking the questions, and this is where God already directed my heart and mind this morning. That's what I wrote down. So standing still is the hardest thing we can do. Is the hardest thing that we can do as children. Is the hardest thing that we can do as parents of children, right? Yesterday was a great example for us. We're being introduced in front of our church, and our 2.5-year-old just goes, what? Just like to the left, and I'm like, not to the left, take all your stuff to the left, but please come back here to my right and stand right next to me. That was tough. It's so hard to stand still as children. That's why God tells us we do not spare the discipline if we love them, right? So, yeah. So that's what happened yesterday. Funny moment. But it's so true with us, isn't it? We just want to run. And that was yesterday was talk about running and not standing still. My goodness. We took both of our... No, let me rephrase this. I took both of our boys to get ice cream. I don't know if it was a good mistake or bad mistake, because at the end, it was nothing but sugar. It was like sugar running down the sidewalks and almost slamming into other people's grocery carts. And I don't think our boys are going to be the ones being hurt. That was the problem. So I'm literally running through the grocery stores, the sidewalks, chasing Luke. I think that's going to be one of the titles of my next book. Chasing Luke or Chasing Jonathan, because that's exactly what it was like. Just a life story of pages. And so here we are with Samuel saying to Israel, stand still and watch. Man, yeah, it's about being faithful. Thanks for that, Danielle, Laura. So it's about standing still, but it's also about seeing the path through God's eyes, right? And so it requires patience. It requires trust and faith to keep our feet from straying. Why? I mean, think about why did Samuel say, stand still and see what God is going to be doing? Because Samuel didn't want the people of God to be distracted. They were already wandering in their own thought. They were already wandering in their own impatience. They were already wandering in sin and wandering in their own mistrust and disbelief in God. He's telling them to stand still. And I really believe when we feel like the winds are just blowing crazy and it's just loud, that's when God is just calling us to do this. I say that for my own life. God, just when I need you, Lord, help me to stand still. Help me to not be in the wake of other people's waves or in the breeze of other people's wind, but help me to stand strong on what and who? The solid rock, our foundation, Lord Jesus Christ, His Word. And so it's not what I love. This came from. I highlighted this in Bible.com today. Coming from 1 Corinthians. I'm trying to find out where that was in 1 Corinthians. Sorry about that, people. 1 Corinthians, where was it? 1 Corinthians, I don't want to get the scripture wrong, but it says that it's not a matter of talk, it's a matter of the power of God. I love that. It's not a matter of talk, it's a matter of the power of God. Lord, thanks for inviting out your friends and everybody here too. Facebook Live, you guys are awesome. So The true identity of a worshiper, in this case of Israel, wanting to have a king, our true identity of a worshiper is any of us who put our trust into God's hands. And that's something that Israel just did not do. And so what Samuel is calling us to do, what God calls us to do daily, is to have that undeniable faith that says, your kingdom come. All right, so here we go. Facebook Live. Clarity says, be my God so I can just be me. Wow. The song of my heart, sometimes we try to pretend to be somebody, but the truth is we are nothing. We need God. He gave the desire, the vision. He alone knows, and he is the way. Follow his ways, for it will lead us to fulfillment of that vision. Wow, high five that, Clarity, on Facebook Live. Thank you so much. Man, that's good. See, this is what these broadcasts are for. They're about bringing encouragement to be shared among us as we are worship leaders, pastors, worship teams, audio tech. This is what it's about. And I mean, we say that every day when we're on here. So, guys, thank you for this. This is awesome. You want all the quotes? Yeah, a lot of the fantastic quotes don't even come from what we're talking about. They're from everyone that are here. Yeah, so this is great. You guys are awesome. So, so Jesus says in Luke 17:21. And he's saying this about, how we are not to declare where we think the kingdom is or where it's going. And I think this is applicable to the way that we see church being done, our own dreams, what have you, our plans. God is in the business of changing your plans, not just laughing at them, but, Jesus said, God is working here, God is working there. Anytime, we're not to be fooled by somebody else saying, like, God is at work over here, when really he may not be. That's where discernment, standing on truth, is what it's all about. Yeah, Laura, I wish we did have a transcript of this live stream. You guys make this stuff happen. Thank you. I mean, wow. The comments that you guys share on Periscope, Facebook Live, I mean, this is what it's about. So thank you guys so much for this. So moving on into what happened here about Samuel, and now we're going to chapter 12, verse 16. Samuel is like, look, don't turn away from God. I mean, are you willing to let go of your kingdom and let him reign over you? Are you willing to let go of your own kingdom? Are you ready just to stop building it and maybe burning it? Maybe asking God to burn it down so that way he can take it up again. I find that those are just the toughest things in life. Even when we may feel like we're on fire, man, it's great. You're excited, you're encouraged, you're on top of the world, you're like, yeah, let's do this, God, then that's where he wants us to be, as long as we're making it all about God. Or rather, God making it all about him through us. Maybe it's another perspective. So Leon from Periscope says, the reason why we have our own kingdoms is because we've perfected independence. Yeah, I think that we've definitely done a great job being independent as a people. And this is the problem that Samuel faced. Yeah, good word, Daniel. Israel was so set on having a king, and like right now we got to have one, when really this is about God's timing and God coming through in the moment in which he declares. So we can trust that as the people of God, he is already pleased with us. And this is what Samuel's telling Israel. Say, God is already pleased with you. Just choose his ways, not yours. And so that's how we are to live as God's people. We are to live as heirs to his kingdom. We're not, outside the walls of the kingdom. We are already in the family. So how do we live as family members? And how do we do justly, love mercy, walk humbly before our God? Micah 6:8. The old song just kind of comes to mind there. Isaiah 1:17. Learn to do right. Seek justice. Encourage the oppressed. Maybe you feel oppressed. Maybe you feel persecuted. then Jesus said, then for yours is the kingdom then. If you're persecuted for your faith, if you feel like walls are pressing in, this is a great opportunity to be comforted by maybe it's not the situation pressing into you, but maybe it's God's hand applying that pressure because he wants you to be his. He doesn't want you to be distracted and tossed to the side, but he wants you to be right here. Those are the things that I try to have come to mind even in the moment of just the struggle, right? These are the trenches. This is where we find the reality of living. And then are we singing those same songs on Sunday? You know, what we live in our daily lives and from our hearts and our minds, are we singing the same story out on Sunday, and are we living it before our people? I mean, when you talk about vision, I mean, man, again, this is what Samuel's trying to gear the people towards of, look, you want a king? Well, sing the story of God. You know, but as we see, yes, tough love from our father, and as we see tough love was shown when God just said to Israel, okay, here's your king, Saul, be happy now, you got what you wanted. I think a lot of the times we don't take into inventory the very questions that we ask of God, because I believe that if we did really think about what we ask God, we may not even ask it because we may be afraid of receiving it. I mean, really, I remember listening to Tony Evans, and he would say something to the effect of, you know, thank the Lord that God doesn't give you everything that you want that you pray for because you're not ready for it. You know, it's so true. It's like just handing the keys to a 17-year-old and say, here's your Ferrari. It's like, well, wait a minute, you know, and they're going to wreck the car, and eventually they're going to damage themselves. And that's the bigger picture here that God is trying to show Israel of, okay, you want the candy, but you don't understand what it's going to cost you. Of just, boom, there's your king. And so we need to be about God's kingdom come, not our will be done. God's will be done. It's so simple, it's so basic, but we find more and more, right, that God gives us every dependency upon him, every reason to increase our lack of faith, our unwillingness, whatever it may be. So these are the words that I'm encouraging you with today. And as we wrap up our broadcast right now, go ahead and type in your final thought, final questions, whatever that you may have. Maybe you're on that path right now where you need that nudge in your ministry, in your walk. And so this is why we do what we do at worshipteamtraining.com. Through our mentoring, through our workshops, even just through our encouragement of the posts, these broadcasts, you guys comment so great on. Thank you so much for this. Clarity says, God bless all the worshipers of the living God. May the power of God's presence continue to manifest in our lives, and that way how we worship God undignifiedly. That's a new one for me. And brings deep impact in the lives of many. Hallelujah. That's awesome. Thank you, Clarity. Will you come back, Clarity? Because she's got awesome words to say. Leon, too. We want the glory, but don't know what it will cost us. Christ already paid that cost. Man, you guys are like a fountain. I mean, this is fantastic. So do this, please. Share this broadcast out with people that you know. There's got to be one person right now. There's got to be one person that you can think of that needs to hear this word today. Maybe it was you. So thank you for making us part of your journey. And we invite you to also check out our mentoring page, in which you can find mentoring that we do with you on your journey just right where you're at. It's a 10-week program. We meet with you about an hour a week based around your schedule. And it comes out of a book that I had written, that we follow this path and we relate everything right directly to your ministry and weekly, daily experience. So try it out. Don't take my word for it. Read the stories that are on the page. You'll find Michael's story, Neil's story, Kelly's story, Jacqueline's story. And it's right there at worshipteamtraining.com/mentoring. So thank you for that. And Clarity, thank you very much for your comments. Leon, Laura, Kelly, our very own awesome broadcast extraordinaire, Clarence. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for making this show every day a treat for everybody. You guys are awesome. So join us back at worshipteamtraining.com. We will be back with you tomorrow through Friday, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you guys so much. Leon, I love y'all. Keep going. Don't give up. Do not give up. Patience, perseverance, God's timing. Trust Him. Let Him build a kingdom through you. Love you.